Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Let me tell you something. Oscar Collazo, what can't he do? He got in there, it didn't take long for him to make quick work of his latest opponent, man. But the conversation shifted towards bigger opportunities for him to move up a couple weight classes and now take on Ricardo Sandoval. But I'm going to tell you this about Collazo. Although he stands 5'1", you know, Gervonta Davis is a small guy. He's got that freakish power in that left hand. Collazo has got something special about that left hand. I'm just wondering, you know, when these guys start moving up weight divisions, you know, what's going to be too much of a jump for him? Because he knocks people out, but he can be dropped. So for him going up and looking to call out Ricardo Sandoval, those discussions looks like it's going to take place, and De La Hoya want to make the Puerto Rico-Mexico rivalry, and it's all good, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we like that. But I'm being honest with you, Collazo's done almost everything he can do at his current level, and now he needs more career-defining fights. But by going up in weight, knowing that he's already been dropped before, it just makes me wonder when he goes up there and gets Sandoval, if he gets hit clean. I mean, it's boxing, anything can happen. But what happens? But I guess, like we say, chances make champions, right? And he won't know unless he takes that chance and goes up. But I'm telling you, there's something special about those hands. With the opponent he was fighting tonight from Mexico, I think his name was Valdez, man. He hit that guy with that left hand. I mean, the guy walked right into the shot. Boom, turned him around. Then he got up, hit on the temple, dropped again, got up, went down again. I think he could have continued, but his corner stopped the fight. So, of course, he got booed, but I think the corner should have. I mean, if the man's getting up and he wants to fight, let him fight it. I mean, the knockdowns weren't that devastating, but it looked like he didn't really stand a chance. Like, it looked like the fight was beat out of him. Those hard shots. And it wasn't like he was there being bludgeoned. It's just the power in those single shots. You could tell on the face of the Mexican fighter, he was like, man, I want up out of here. But anyway, Collazo lives to fight another day. Big win, big knockout, will probably bubble up a couple weight divisions. And hopefully he can get the Sandoval fight. And I'm going to be watching that fight because I want to see just how he does going up another 2 weight divisions. Because, you know, when you go up in weight, you know, sometimes those guys are a little bit bigger, a little more power. It's a difference. But Collazo's going to prove if he is the next Miguel Cotto, the next Felix Trinidad, if he's going to be the next guy to represent Puerto Rico. We'll find out. Now, JoJo Diaz. You got to respect JoJo Diaz. You got to love JoJo Diaz, man. But, hey, suffers another tough night. We all know what JoJo Diaz, man. He, at one point in his career, was one of boxing's brightest stars. But now, with everything he's gone through, from alcoholism, drugs, depression, I mean, everything. He's been through a lot. He's human. We all go through things, right? But you just got to wonder how much he has left. He fought against the guy, you know, H20 Sylve. It was someone who came up in the gym when he was a small kid, someone he looked up to JoJo Diaz. But to get that 10-round decision over JoJo Diaz, it just adds to the growing concerns that, you know, Diaz, he's no longer in his prime. He fought a top-level contender. He lost to him. And although his fan base has been largely disappointed, I'll say this, man. You can't be a baby forever. You know what I'm saying? We just got to remember what Diaz once was. And as long as he can get a couple more fights, he's not taking really too much damage. Let the man fight, make some money, but it looks like retirement is near for Diaz. Because if he can't beat an up-and-coming contender, then he's just going to become a gatekeeper. And he's going to be thrown into fights to basically, you know, be a test for these up-and-coming fighters to see if they can get past a C level, C+ level fighter, former champion. And if they can't do that, then if they can do that, then they go on to bigger and better. But if they can't, it's probably it for them. Now, as far as it being the end for somebody, now I did a video a while ago, I think a couple of years ago, on Turki Alalshikh about his health. But it's coming up again. Turki Alalshikh, something about him battling cancer and stuff like that. I thought whatever was going on with him had been resolved. But there really wasn't much said about it except whatever they had saw in him, that it looks like it wasn't there. Got help over here in the United States, the best doctors. But there's something, he mentioned something about not being able to see and not being able to remember certain things in the next couple of years. And people are saying that, the cancer is still there, something about a brain tumor. I don't know how true all that is. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on with Turkey. But the bottom line is, more to come on that. But when Turkey's in the house, every day is Thanksgiving. Without Turki Alalshikh, we wouldn't have received these fights we've received over the last few years. You know what I'm saying? And there's a big fight coming up. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. And this is the biggest heavyweight fight that I think can possibly be made. You got, for a while, it was Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder. They're all still hanging around. Fury fought Wilder, but Wilder and Joshua hasn't fought. Fury and AJ hasn't fought, but now it looks like Fury and AJ are finally going to fight. Now, let me just say this. This fight remains one of the few events capable of stopping the boxing world. Although neither one are in their prime, neither one are undefeated anymore, these guys have already agreed to fight, and it's going to happen. But Turki Alalshikh wants to have a summit. He wants to have all the boxing promoters. He wants to bring everyone to the table and have a conversation. Because he doesn't want for this fight to be derailed. He doesn't want any issues, even with other fighters. He doesn't want the problems of guys not being able to fight for titles, and he's just trying to get everybody on the same accord. And I'm going to tell you this. He's going to be able to do it. You know why? Because he got the goddamn money. You got the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund. They got gazillions of dollars there that they use for whatever they want. And sports is one of the things that they put a lot of money into. So hopefully Turki Alalshikh can get everybody on the same sheet of music. And not only for Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, but for Jai Apatite to get fights and everyone else out here, man. So the Zuffa boxing thing isn't like as a sore thumb. You know what I'm saying? Where everyone will come together in kumbaya. But I tell you, if Turki Alalshikh start putting money in people's pockets, people will shut up in color and we'll get the fights that we want. And I think he may be willing to do that, especially since, who knows how much, if he's really sick, and that shit is not a laughing matter. You would think that he may just do it. Just because he's a boxing fan, his country is benefiting from the fights he's making because now the international community is starting to see Saudi as a destination. So he doesn't want to stop that momentum. So he may do it. Now, if something happens to Turki Alalshikh in the next couple of years, I don't know what's going to happen. But I do think they have people in place to succeed him. But he's the face of everything. It's Turki Alalshikh, So more to come on all that. Now, Benavidez and Bivol. The debate continues. A growing number of fans believe Dmitry Bivol will present major problems for David Benavidez, and David Benavidez should be thanking the boxing gods that he's ducking a bullet by not fighting Bivol next. Now, the argument usually centers around footwork, ring IQ, distance control, defensive responsibility. We know Dmitry Bivol is a monster inside that ring, but so is Benavidez. But a lot of the Benavidez supporters are saying, forget the footwork, ring IQ, distance control, defensive responsibility, counterpunching that Bivol brings. Forget that. David Benavidez has the pressure and volume that's going to create opportunities for Benavidez to get a win and a big knockout. But regardless, it doesn't matter what anyone says. Many fans view Bivol as one of the most technically difficult opponents in boxing, and I don't think Benavidez is just going to walk through Bivol. I just don't see it. But looks like we'll never find out. Looks like we'll never see Canelo and Benavidez fight because it just ain't going to happen. Now, someone who is no longer active, but his name's coming up again. Miguel Cotto. His power is still respected. It says something when both Paulie Malignaggi and Manny Pacquiao, who recently came out and said Miguel Cotto is the hardest puncher he ever faced. Manny Pacquiao said that MFA hit hard. He said he still feels those shots. And I thought it was kind of surprising to hear Pacquiao come out and say that, because it gives people a lot of respect, but there's obviously something special about Cotto. Even Mayweather said he thought about quitting boxing after fighting Cotto, because Cotto was hitting him so damn hard. So Miguel Cotto has something special about the hands, especially that left hand, because he's naturally left-handed. But I'll tell you what, Miguel Cotto built a reputation not just for power, but for educated pressure and body punching. And obviously the power was there, because whenever he touched somebody, you could see they had a bad day in the office. But years after retirement, fighters continue discussing how physically demanding it was to share a ring with them, and for obvious reasons. Now, Demetrius Andrade, he's back in July. Glad to see him back. But he's not ready to leave. My nose is itching, man. I trimmed the hairs in my nose, and my nose itching like a motherfucker. But Demetrius Andrade is not ready to leave. He's talking about fighting way beyond the age of 40. Now, when I hear him say that, I know what's going on. Or I think I know. He's not satisfied with his career. The motivation goes beyond money. There's a feeling among portions of the boxing community that Andre's prime years passed without receiving many of the defining fights his talent deserved, especially when he sees the people he came up with who went on to do great things in boxing and make a bunch of money. He did okay, but he's definitely not what people had anticipated, and I'm surely not what he anticipated for himself. But whether that perception is fair or not, it remains part of his story. And I can't see him fighting beyond 40, because he's that good, that skilled, that talented to where he can get in there and win some fights. But against who? But hopefully, some opportunities present themselves, and maybe he gets on with Zuffa. I don't know what he's going to do, but I know he's fighting in July. But I hope he can get a second run with his career. He's been through a lot, losing his dad. He's been through a lot, man, not getting the fights he wanted, being ducked and shit. But the bottom line, let's see if he can get his career back on track. Now, as far as careers being on track or off track, Ennis and Zayas, that fight has the boxing world split. They're about to fight in about, 8 days or something. But the closer the fight gets, the more fans become divided. Some see Ennis as a future superstar. Others believe Zayas possesses the discipline, timing, and composure necessary as a unified champion at 154 to pull off a major upset. But I just want to throw this out there to you. Bookmakers continue favoring Ennis heavily, for those who didn't know that. But fan discussions remain far more competitive than betting odds suggest. Ennis is the betting favorite. The bookmakers have him with a 74 to 80% chance of winning. It's crazy. So I don't know who y'all betting on, but that's what the bookmakers have as of, I would say about 10 minutes ago of me checking. Now, depending on who wins, you know whose name is back in the mix? Vergil Ortiz. Conversations already started, man, about Vergil Ortiz. Who he's going to fight, talking about he could be returning in the fall. Him and De La Hoya and Golden Boy are talking now. So looks like it's starting to get a little bit of kumbaya going on over there. And that's good. But I'm going to tell you what, Vergil Ortiz has to come back and get active. The whole year has been a waste. He's got to come back and get a win. But for those thinking he's going to come back and immediately go into a fight with the winner of Ennis Zayas, to that I say, in the most respectful way, to hold your horse and stop taking it to the stupid. That'll be career suicide. Last thing he needs to come off of inactivity, go fight one of them and lose. That he'll be permanently derailed. And De La Hoya's not going to do that. They're going to put him in a fight. He's going to get a soft touch win, probably get another one, then they'll be talking. So he probably has 2 more fights before he even thinks about fighting the winner of a Zayas and Ennis. Okay? But I'll tell you what, supporters envision a fight filled with pressure, exchanges, and action if Ortiz gets in it with Ennis or with Zayas. But others are going to caution that elite level boxing is really simple. And just like it's not, I'll put it to you this way. I'll say it. Others caution that elite level boxing is rarely as simple as violent and may become a technical battle between 2 highly skilled fighters. So if Ennis fought Ortiz, It may not be as exciting and violent as you think, but it will be entertaining. But not necessarily where you're jumping up out your seats at the ebb and flow of the fights. It'd be more there with the popcorn, just watching two guys in there, just trying to a high-speed game of chess. I don't know. I think if whoever Virgil Ortiz gets in the ring with, that shit's going to be a mash-up, crash-up, because that's how he fights. He's going to make you fight. He's going to put pressure on you. And if it's Boots or Zayas, they all this moving around the ring, eventually, I think Ortiz will catch up to him. That's why you got to hold your ground. You got to hit him. You got to hurt him. You got to get his respect. If not, he's going to just steamroll you. Now, speaking of someone getting steamrolled, Tszyu has sent a message to Errol Spence. Now, I'm telling you, I think Spence and Tszyu is a 50-50 fight. I like them both. But Tszyu is out here saying, yo, man, I expect a difficult night for Errol Spence Jr. You know, Tszyu is like, I'm here to hurt him. I'm here to bring the pain. He ain't here to play around, man. His confidence continues to grow as the fight approaches. I don't know what the hell's going on out there in Australia with Tszyu. But Tszyu, he's not one to be bullied. I'll tell you that shit. And he believes Spence is entering one of the toughest situations of his career. And a lot of people have growing questions about Errol Spence Jr. And it's because of his recent interviews. Some fans begin questioning Spence's long-term commitment to boxing. You know, they know he has the talent, but it's motivation. You know, when a fighter starts talking about taking things one fight at a time, fans naturally wonder whether they're locked in mentally. Some believe Spence is searching for answers. Others believe he remains dangerous and motivated. Only the fight itself will reveal the truth. That's why I look forward to seeing Spence and Tszyu get in the ring and seeing how it goes. Because, look, Tszyu is not an easy fight. That shit is not a soft touch. That's why I got to put a lot of respect on Spence's name, because it's like, damn, you're really getting in the ring with Tszyu. But if Errol Spence can get the victory, it's a big deal. The thing is, he may or may not fight again. You see, I think he's just fighting to see if he still got it. But Tszyu ain't the person to be playing with. But if you want to know if you still got it, I mean, that's probably the fight to take. Because if you beat him, Tszyu he's not a duck. You know what I mean? Tszyu is not a tomato can. Tszyu is the truth. So a good test for Errol Spence, and also for Tszyu. Because if he can beat somebody with Errol Spence's intensity, with his skill set, his ferociousness, the volume of punches, the pressure, that's going to say a lot about Tszyu. Even though Errol Spence is coming off for 3 years of inactivity, it doesn't matter. Errol Spence has got the goods, so put some respect on his name. Now, someone else's name that needs to have respect put on it. Let me just go ahead and say, hold your horses, stop taking it too stupid. UK fans, you got to stop. You got to stop. Talking about Fury and Joshua, this is more than a fight. This is an opportunity for the winner to become the next heavyweight icon of the United Kingdom. The next Lennox Lewis. Yeah. If I had a rock, I'd throw it at y'all. It's a bit premature to be going this direction, talking about the winner of AJ and Fury. Gonna be the next Lennox Lewis. Stop. Hammer time. But I understand. It just shows the importance of the matchup. But the next Lennox Lewis, unless they're fighting for undisputed, maybe, but I mean, come on now. Let's not take it to the stupid. And one more thing before I wrap this whole thing up. Clarissa Shields. You know you got to talk about it every day. One of the biggest mysteries in women boxing remains. What's next for Clarissa Shields? What is she doing? No fight announcement. This shit has fueled speculation. Some fans blame promotional issues. Others point to business negotiations and purse demands. Others talk about her attitude, being blackballed. The secret society decided they're going to teach her a lesson. You see, I think it's not simply finding opponents willing and able to generate enough revenue to justify a major event. I just think doors have closed on her, man. And I think there's some trouble in paradise between her, winning records and Demetrius Andrade. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. But one thing's for sure is if they can't figure out a fight, right? Why not just fight Chris Cyborg? Now, I think Clarissa wins that fight. But still, the money, $2 million, I think they can get $3 million. Go after it. What's the problem? Everybody will get behind it. Now you're talking about a crossover fight. There may be even more money involved. But what are we doing here? No announcement, no traction at all. She just showed up to a basketball game with a WBC belt on her shoulder. Fuck it, man. Just fight Chris Cyborg. I think that matchup is commercially interesting and potentially one of the biggest crossover fights available. But Cyborg is fighting the end of this year against Ronda Rousey. But I think Cyborg will fight Clarissa in a boxing match and still fight Rousey later. But I would just say that at this stage, however, much of the conversation remains speculation until an official announcement's made. Who knows what Clarissa's doing? I have no clue. But then, if they can't make a fight, why not just fight Cyborg? At least that'll get us talking. That'll get the juices flowing. Some people think she'll lose. I don't think she loses that fight. But it'll be a damn interesting fight because Cyborg is going to fight to win. Don't mean she does, but she's going to fight. And that's what I want to see. Whoever Clarissa fights next, let it be someone who can hang with the big goat and scrap with her. Let's not give us no fights where she's fighting someone with eight wins and 2 knockouts. We don't need that. Give us someone who we can say, yo, this person known for having some dog in them, but we could get behind the fight. Anyway, the biggest story in boxing right now may not be who's winning. Is who is facing questions. Spence is facing questions. Benavidez is facing questions. Ennis is facing questions. Big Whoop, Clarissa Shields is facing questions. I mean, Shakir Stevenson, Haney, Keyshawn, everybody facing questions. And in boxing, unanswered questions are often what keeps us watching. And that's why I'm doing this video. Y'all keep cool on me the breeze.